Hello everybody, welcome back to the channel. I am Crenton Tolstrom, 15-year-old broadcaster, and today I wanted to sit down here, do a little video, and talk about how I am preparing to broadcast an entire season of high school football. So, settle in, listen to me blabble about these things for the next few minutes, and hopefully you will enjoy. And the reason I'm doing this is because I am getting into the process of preparing to call my third season of Moline Maroons high school football. In just over 2 weeks, we're going on the road to Missouri, and then it's time for 10, 11, 12 games from there. So I'm looking forward to doing it for a third year for QCSportsnet.com. Excited to be back for the Maroons, which happens to be my own high school, and a fun year is ahead. So I'm getting ready for not only the entire season, but the opening game that is coming up, as I mentioned, down at Rockwood Summit High School in Missouri in just over 2 weeks. So I'm getting ready for that. I'm getting ready for the entire season. I'm going to share with you my process of how I'm getting ready for one game the whole season all at once, and share how I do it, maybe give some advice, and do something that could be helpful for you as well. So I guess kind of let's just start with my overall game plan and how I'm trying to attack in it. Because, as I said, it's just my third year. Still trying to kind of find my rhythm, find how I like to do things, find what I think I need in a certain game prep or season prep. So the overall things that I start with and the overall things that I do for each game is I'll do a storyline sheet. I'll get to that in a moment. I'll do spotting charts. And so that's kind of what I start with first. I'll work the rosters for each team. I'll look at if they played last year, what was it like? I'll look at the overall last season for the respective teams. That's how I'm getting ready for week one. But for the Maroons, Moline in particular, I'm not only getting ready for week one, but I'm getting ready for 9 weeks ahead of that as well. I do one game, but I build my spotting charts, I build my storyline sheet, so I'm able to look back on this is what happened in week one, or I'm able to use that same one in week 9 and have some of the info remain the same. So it just so happens that for week 1, Moline played Rockwood Summit last year, so that's helpful. So we'll start with my storyline sheet. I have a couple of different versions. This is what I was going with last year. This year I condensed it to one sheet. I'll have the upcoming schedule, some last season notes, important notes, some big storylines for the certain game in the middle, some of the school football history, and then some little tidbits about the head coach. I'll do that for both teams, and then you can also see in the upper corner, it's an August 30th, 2024 recap when the two teams played last year. So I'm able to look back on that, and something that'll help me for week 1. And obviously the point of the video is how I'm getting ready for the season as a whole is because of this big notebook. And this is my stat notebook, which I'll write down the scoring plays, the stats, some important notes from each and every game, so I'm able to remember that a year from when I did it, like I'm trying to do right now, and going through all of the games from last season to remember last time we played this team, this is what happened, this is how the game went, this is what the trends were, these were the important storylines for that game. So I kind of look back on, last year Moline's defense wasn't playing this year, wasn't playing well, but this year they returned a lot of guys, and they're hoping to build. Last season is going to be very important to get ready for this season for me, especially for Moline when I'm doing every single one of their games. Now, it's a bit different for the opponent. Yes, I'm still looking back on what happened when they played last season against Moline, but I have to focus a lot more on getting familiar with the roster and what that team is doing in the past games this season and what they did last season, because I don't see them every week like I will Moline. So what I'm working with for Rockwood Summit right now, I'm starting with them because I'm kind of going to take more time to get familiar with the opponent. Meanwhile, as I'm going to already know a lot about Moline, I have intels with coaches and players themselves, so I'm able to more quickly learn day by day what's kind of going in to Moline's own routine. When Rockwood Summit, I'm 4 hours away from them. I don't have relationships with their coach or their players, so it's a lot of using resources. And here, I'm working the roster right now. I got a packet, 3 pages full of their roster, and some stats next to it, some awards. It's helpful on their site. They have awards listed next to the players, the positions, the heights, weights, the grades, all that important stuff. And then all that's going to allow me to help what I have started the process in doing, and that is building my spotting charts. Now, something I started late last year. I used to, well, we're talking about last year, this is what my old spotting chart model used to be, but it was kind of just over flooded and kind of filled with some players that were reserves and wouldn't really get into the game. So I kind of was able to shorten it up here, and then I've handwritten it, and I haven't mind doing that. But a lot of the important players, plenty of space to write the stats and whatnot. I'll put the last year notes. I'll put the 2025 notes, especially for week 1. Like who all is returning, what they did last year, because that's important in the first game of the season. It's not so much what they did last year is not so important when you're looking at week 6, week 7. But then same for Summit. I'll do them an offense. I'll do them a defense. And I'll handwrite that. You can see the defense one nowhere close to being done. I have been working on that for most of the day in progress with that. So for the visitor, it's a lot more taking the time to know the program story, the overall storylines, getting the players, just so I know enough about them to kind of know what to expect from the game. But when it's going to come time for Moline here in a few days, when the roster is settled and I get that sent over and I get the stats figured out from last year and everything, then I'll be able to much more focus on, okay, who's back this year? I know what they did last year because I was at every game. I can talk to the coach. I can talk to the player. They've grown this year. They've done this for this year over last year, or they're a sophomore getting their first varsity reps this year. Here's what their mindset is. Since I'm able to talk and have that relationship, it's much easier to get ready for the whole season and much easier to get ready for individual games than it is for a team 4 hours away. And then when we're talking about the season as a whole, once again, I mentioned the stats from the individual games are important. I mentioned figuring out everything about Moline like I normally would is important. You can see over here I will start, once I get the roster, start building their boards, but I still have some last year's numbers and some important notes for this season on the side, and there goes that onto the ground. But you get my point. So another thing that I'm doing, which I forgot to pull out, is I have plenty of copies of empty charts, and I'm able to kind of write down, start those for the teams we're going to see in 4 weeks, but maybe something big's going to happen to them in week 1 that I want to write down for when Moline plays them in week 5, week 6, and so on, because I like to get ahead of prep and not have to write everything down when I'm busy with school, and heck, I'm on the golf team, so I got a lot of things on my plate as well, along with traveling and calling these games every Friday night, where I like to have downtime on the weekend on the week. So get ahead of the prep, starting now, get ahead of the game I'm going to be calling in almost 2 months. Not a bad thing to do, and it really helps me out in the whole season-long thing. So this is kind of what I'm doing to get ready for a whole football season ahead. I'm starting with week 1, which is in about 2.5 weeks. I'm building up the boards, 4 sheets, 2 offenses, 2 defenses for the an offensive, defensive team, looking at the opponent's roster, digesting that, but then I can go in depth and in detail for the team that I'm going to be familiar with, watching them play for 9, 10, 11 weeks in Moline. And then talking about what I just finished on, starting prep for games way down the road and kind of following those teams all throughout the season to know what I can expect for them whenever they're going to play in the game that I'm calling. So, I'm enjoying this. It's my 3rd year at it. I'm getting really comfortable. I am figuring out my ways, my strategies, and this is how I'm getting ready for the upcoming football season. Calling it on the radio on an online platform, QCSportsnet.com, for the Moline Maroons. Come check me out. Come listen to me. I'd be happy to have you along. So with that, hopefully this video could be helpful. Maybe you just enjoyed it. No matter what, thanks for watching. And I've been Grant Dahlstrom, a 15-year-old broadcaster. So long.